Hi guys, welcome back to George Reads once again, where today we are reading Chapter 8 of I'm Telling You They're Aliens by Jeremy Strong. Last time in Chapter 7, Rob and Marsha broke into the aliens' house, but they weren't able to take the photograph of them in their alien form because the camera had no film in it. The next morning, Norman came into Rob's room with Rob's rucksack, which he had left behind previously that night. So now Norman is in Rob's room and is interrogating him about what he saw in their house last night. So things are getting bigger and bigger. I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. Please leave a like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated and it helps the channel loads. So without further ado, let's read Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Walking on Tentacles. Today's horoscope. Be careful in open spaces. Stay indoors if you can. Small animals can bring you great fortune. I shook my head. No way. It's not mine. Yes, it is, said Mum, ever helpful. We gave that to you last Christmas. It looks like mine, but it's not mine, I insisted. It's got your name inside, Norman snarled, and even Mum took a step back. Oh, that rucksack. Norman looked across at my mother. He didn't speak, he just stared at her. I was astonished to see her turn red. She gave him a faint smile. I'll be downstairs then, she said, and went. Truly spooky. It was as if he'd silently ordered her to go, moulded her thoughts somehow. Norman sat himself on the edge of my bed. I pulled the duvet up to my chin. So, he hissed, and his eyes bored into mine. How much do you know? What about? I stalled. Norman folded his arms and gazed at me steadily. It might have been my imagination, but I reckon I could see little red dots coming out of his eyes. Doot, 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 doot. It was like he was trying to hypnotize me, just like he had my mother, so I looked at the duvet cover instead. It was the one with Thomas the Tank Engine all over it. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Thomas the Tank Engine? What a baby! Listen, when I was 5, I thought Thomas the Tank Engine was wonderful. But now I feel ridiculously embarrassed. Here I was, talking to a dangerous alien with nothing between us except my Thomas the Tank Engine duvet cover. My parents gave me this when I was little, I explained nervously. I don't like him anymore. All at once, Norman leaned forward and pulled his face close to mine. You were in our house last night. We know. It's no good pretending, Rob. I can read your thoughts. Really? What am I thinking then? And I shut my eyes and tried hard to think of nothing to do with aliens at all. Norman laughed. You're wishing you don't feel so scared. Now it was my turn to go red. He was dead right, but I suddenly thought, if Norman knows what I'm thinking, then why pretend? Just tell him everything. So I did. I know all about you and your family, I muttered through gritted teeth. I had to grit them together to stop them from clattering with fear. Norman tried to appear ultra cool and sneered back at me. Oh yeah? Such as? I know you and your family are creatures from another galaxy, and I know you've come to take over the world. Boy, you should have seen his face. Talk about surprise! His jaw really did drop, and he stared at me flabbergasted. He couldn't speak for several moments, and when he did, it was to ask me a question. Do I look like an alien? Do any of my family look like aliens? Of course not. It's daylight. It's daylight, repeated Norman, keeping his eyes fixed on mine. It's only at night that you take on your true form. I know that. That's why I was in your house last night. I was going to photograph you all in your real monster state. For several more moments, Norman just gazed at me, a little frown on his forehead. Slowly, a smile began to creep onto his face. It wasn't a nice smile. You were very lucky, Chicken Licken, he began. We hadn't finished the shield last night. If we had, you'd be dead. Really? I tried to sound okay about this news, but my voice came out all squeaky. My voice is always letting me down like that. What's the shield? It's an invisible defense wall we throw around our craft, or wherever we happen to be. It's made from photonic particles. Our enemies just walk into it and bzzz. That's it, like those electric fly traps. It just makes a tiny noise. Nobody would hear, nobody would know. Bzzz, and you're zapped, gone up in smoke, nothing left, except maybe your socks and shoes. And the stupid thing is, despite being terrified at my near brush with death, what I was actually thinking was, only my socks and shoes left, so it wouldn't matter if I was wearing clean underpants. Of course, nobody will believe you if you tell them we're aliens. Norman looked very pleased with himself. You humans are so stupid, especially you. He laughed and then he asked how I'd got into his house. You know everything, I said. You tell me. You didn't break in, said Norman. No, I didn't. I was secretly very pleased that no one didn't know that there had been 2 of us in the house. I just had to keep Marsha up my sleeve. Just a figure of speech, she wouldn't actually fit up there, of course, unless they were super baggy sleeves and extra long. Even then, she'd probably fall out. She's always falling somewhere. So you had a key. Where is it? I reached down and got it from my trouser pocket. I handed it over. Norman at last got off the bed and stood up. Tell as many people as you like, he growled, but don't come near our house. From now on, the shield will be in force. Our people are coming, Rob, and nobody can stop them. Keep out of trouble, and you won't get hurt. Come anywhere near us, and... Norman broke off and grinned. His face was pure evil. He dropped the rucksack to my lap. I think you'll find some bandages in there, he said. You come anywhere near us, and you'll need them. And he went. I have never got dressed so fast in all my life. My thoughts were whirling round my brain like some derailed helter-skelter car. I had to do something. I had to tell someone. But everything I thought of came up was a dead end. Mum and Dad? No. Police? No. Army? How do you ring the army anyhow? I don't suppose they're in the yellow pages. The only person I could think of was Marsha. I raced round to her house. Her mum was pretty surprised to see me, but at least she gave me a smile. Marsha's still asleep, she explained. Wake her up, I said. I beg your pardon? I juggled up and down on the doorstep. Sorry, please wake her up, Mrs. Zulinski. It's very, very important. Marsha's mum gave me another little smile and sighed. Come on in, sit down, but don't expect every miracles. She's like a bear with a sore head most mornings. Marsha's mum disappeared, and several minutes later I heard raised voices. Then her mum came back down. Bear with a sore head, she repeated, adding, rather you than me, before disappearing off into the little garden out the back. Marsha herself appeared in the doorway. She was in her pajamas and dressing gown, her hair all dishevelled. Not that it made much difference. Her hair was always dishevelled. Oh, she groaned, it's you. I leapt to my feet. Say no, I said. Norman's been to see me. He brought my rucksack back. You never left it behind? I nodded sheepishly, and Marsha gave a long, long sigh, while I wildly babbled on about invasions and preparations and everything. He admitted everything, and he said it's too late to do anything, I shouted at her. But we've got to do something. Marsha sat down on the edge of the settee. It could be true then, she mumbled, and then gave me a cross glance. Just calm down, will you? But they're going to invade. Marsha leaned across and gripped both my wrists to stop them shaking. She stared at me fiercely and said, Do you want me to call you Chicken Licken? I took a deep breath, held it, and then let it out slowly. Okay, I'll stop panicking, but we must do something. First, we must think. They're making preparations, you say? What sort of preparations? What do we know about them? Norman told you his dad was a computer whiz, right? So my guess is that they are going to hack into our defense systems worldwide. Can that be done? Probably. They bring down the defense systems, and that means any invading force can just walk in. They've got tentacles, I pointed out. I don't think it's possible to walk on tentacles. You have to sort of, slip and slop, I suppose. Rob, it doesn't matter how they get here. We must stop them, remember? We had to warn people, I said. And to do that, we must have proof that they are ETs. We've got to actually show the police or the army, whoever, some real aliens. What we saw for ourselves last night. We can't go back and photograph them, I protested. Not now. And I told Marsha about the shield. We have to move fast, I went on. And then it happened. You know how sometimes you get an idea that is so fantastic and simple, you just can't believe how clever you really are? That's what happened to me. This idea suddenly made me realise what a brain was for. You could really think things, really clever stuff. I grabbed Marsha's arm. We kidnapped Norman. Then what? Tell the entire ET invasion force that they must stop invading Earth or they won't get Norman back? Do you think evil aliens will let the life of one teenager stop them? Marsha was scathing, but I didn't care. For once, she hadn't realised what I meant. Are you finished? I asked. That's not the idea at all. What happens to Norman and his family at night? They turn into space monsters. Exactly. We kidnap Norman, we keep him hidden until night time, he turns back into an alien, then we could show everyone and they will have to believe us. Marshall thought this over. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good idea, Rob. You're not as stupid as you look. Neither are you, I grinned. Come on, let's do it. Do you think I should get out of my pyjamas first? Marshall vanished up the stairs, and a little later her mother came in from the garden. So, she smiled, you and Marshall are friends. I suppose you could say that, yep. Marshall's mum watched me for several moments. I'm glad, she said at last. Marshall doesn't have many friends. I know. Everyone thinks she's weird. I could have bitten my tongue right off at that moment. Me and my big mouth. Her mother laughed, just like Marshall's laugh, a throaty chuckle. She is a bit odd, but you know what people say, takes one to know one. Marshall's mother gave me another smile and went back outside, leaving me to puzzle out what she had meant. There was an almighty rumble and crash as Marshall clattered downstairs, tripped over her gangly legs, and crashed in a heap on the hall floor. I'm all right, she cried, beckoning wildly to me, and we quickly left our house. Our mission, to kidnap the alien known as Norman and keep him prisoner until nightfall. And that's the end of chapter 8. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I suggest you leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying the series and the video and the channel in general. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. But for now, goodbye.